All right. Welcome to the first ever Birth Videographer of the Year Awards. I'm pretty sure this is the first ever time we've done this. I just realized we went and we all introduced ourselves, and I hadn't pressed resume. So I'll just go around quickly. We have Rihanna from the Gold Coast. She'll be Judge 1. We have Selena from, did you say Brisbane, Selena? Yeah, Selena from Brisbane. She will be Judge 3. We have Carmen, currently residing in Texas, but originally from Chicago, and she'll be Judge 2. And then we have Andrew from Townsville, Queensland, who also happens to be married to me. And he will be Judge for today. So we are going to be, we'll just get started. We're going to watch 1 minute through of the first video, and then we will ask the judges to input their scores. And after that, if the videographer has asked for feedback, we'll go straight into feedback. So this is the first time I've ever done this, so bear with me while I get myself straight, but let's just get started. And Carmen, I'm just going to mute you from here. Okay. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see the video on the screen? No. No. Okay. Let's try this. Oh boy.
Looks like it's coming now.
Oh, okay. So it's just
it's loading.
Okay, let's try that.
And to confirm, Dania, yes, this is the first time this has been done. It's not only the first time it's been done for Birth Photography of the Year Awards, it's actually the first time it's been done in any birth photography competition.
Yes, so this is very exciting. I think it's the first thing of its kind. So we're still working out some of the bugs, but I think all in all, we've had an amazing turnout with 70 entries, as Lacey said before. Okay, I've got this first video up. It may be choppy on everyone's end. It's just to give you an idea of what we're judging and scoring. So let's get stuck into this. Okay, so judges, could you please input your scores? Oh, Carmen, do you have the sheet up? Do you need the, hang on. We're just waiting for Judge 2's scores. I think she's just getting the score sheet up. Yes. So Rihanna is just asking, oh, perfect. Here we go. We have got, we have started off with a bang. So if we, we are going with the challenge system. So if there is a difference of 10 points between the averages scores and the highest score, sorry, if there's a 10-point difference between the highest score and the average, is that correct, Selena? Then we have a challenge. So the highest score can choose to challenge and then try to convince everyone to come up or stay where they are. So
it's also probably an automatic challenge too, Dania, because it's a goal.
Yes, you're correct. So this entrant has scored a 39.5. We have and we have an automatic challenge because it scored in the gold range twice. So yeah, who would, oh yeah, so Judge 2, can we hear from you first, please?
Started and I was on the edge of my seat the first time I saw it. It started and I needed more information immediately. And then we see the partner getting wheeled into the room with the birthing person, and I was like, okay, it makes sense now. But I still needed more. I feel like with birth films, they can be quite repetitive sometimes. You know, we have the beginning scene, we have the climax when baby's born, and then we kind of have like a slow ease down into a nice, relaxing, you know, postpartum visit. But this film had, I almost feel like it had two climactic points. Like, I feel like the beginning was like, I'm on the edge of my seat, and I was on the edge of my seat when baby was born, and then I wanted to know how the film was going to end. It was filmed so creatively to me. And I know that the first video and the last video are always the most memorable. I get that. But I just feel like, I don't know if this one was strategically placed in the beginning, but I just, like, after watching all of these films, I never forgot that one. It was one of my favorites.
Thank you, Carmen. Does anyone else want to chime in? Yeah, Judge Andrew. Yeah. Sorry, I accidentally muted you. Hang on.
Yeah, so by the looks, I'm the lowest score there. So I'll give my reasonings behind it. I totally agree with the beginning. I was totally drawn in. It was an amazing beginning. Had lots of questions, and it really drew me in that sense. And I think the story, like the event, was an incredible, like intriguing. It's an intriguing story. I guess the thing that brought it down for me was probably, it's more the like for gold, the key word that I see that we're looking for there is innovation, and I didn't see too much there. The things that I could see to bring it up, I feel like the audio probably wasn't like, the music for me was a little bit repetitive. Once I kind of got past that initial kind of figuring out what was going on, it seemed are pretty standard in that sense, so professional standard. I felt like it needed a little bit more variety in the shot types. This might be a bit of a personal thing, but I guess the combination of the music and the camera work was solid. I think it was really solid, but the solidness and the smoothness of it made it feel quite slick. And combined with the music, I felt that there was potential for a greater connection and authenticity there. I mean, it was really moving because of what was happening, but from the technical storytelling, I feel like there was other levels that could have gone. So that's a couple of my thoughts.
Thank you so much for that. Does anyone else want to chime in? Selena? Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. We've got Jesse and Kayla here watching. That's great. Hi, Jesse. Hi, Kayla. Okay. Well, let's just continue this discussion where we left off. I think Selena was about to talk about her points. So let's just get into it.
Did you want to bring up the video and screen share it, Daniel, while I do that?
Yeah, that's a good
idea.
What
I'm talking about? Yeah. So I just wanted to, I scored this in the gold range as well. And in response to your commentary, Andrew, I hear what you're saying on that, and I agree with you. There was some room for improvement, and that's why I didn't score it in high gold. I gave it a 48 because I felt that there was room for improvement. I did, however, feel that the areas that required improvement compared to the story that is being told, the storytelling in this is absolutely exquisite. And I think what really pumped that up into the gold range for me is the fact that it was done so beautifully in black and white. And I think that is something that, like that post-production and conversion into black and white is very much an intentional choice. And in this case, I think it hit the mark, absolutely hit the mark, because doing it as it's such a gentle story, but such a jarring story. And there's a great deal of duplicity in it, in terms of, like there's some beautiful memories being made, but at the same time, your heart's breaking. So I think it's kind of, that's the storytelling element is absolutely there. I don't mind the music, to be perfectly honest. I think if the music was anything more upbeat, or if there was vocals or anything attached to it, I think that would have taken away from the imagery that we were looking at. So I don't mind that at all. But I think just the way that the story's been told, and there is enough in terms of the angles, there is enough in terms of the compositions to give us the story, and I think too much more from what we had could be too much. And I think that this particular story needed to be told with simplicity and minimalism, in a way that just, because there's enough going on in the imagery as it is. So that's my thinking, and that's why I threw it into a gold range, because I felt just with all of those elements that came together, there was room for improvement, as I said, but definitely it's a gold for me.
Thanks, Selena. Rihanna, you're just sitting in the bronze there, which is just above Andrew's score. Do you want to, this entrant has also asked for feedback. So do you want to just give your feedback as well and let us know what your thoughts were?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of sitting there because I see points that Andrew made and points that Carmen and Selena brought up. I did agree with the audio being like a little bit not disjointed. Like the music choice was lovely. I just feel like there was quite a decent gap between the two songs changing over, and some of the audio, like the real life audio, could have been transitioned a little bit more subtly instead of the abrupt endings in some areas. But I do think it's a really beautiful film, and I love how the entrant has told it. It's a very unique story.
Great. Judges, if you could all, because this is an automatic challenge, you can all rescore and re-input your scores, and we'll see where we land. Great. Well, this entrant has scored 41 points, which is a silver. And so congratulations to the entrant. Well done. Okay, we'll move on to the second video. Hang on while I get my...
So you know you're back on Facebook. I think this room actually is going to Facebook. So I'll go back to room 1. Bye.
Bye. There's a bit of things I need to do, buttons I need to click to get things going here. Okay, here we go. So we have our second video.
It's a boy. We're still, we get to be the girls by ourselves there.
You're still the queen of the castle. Yeah. You're running the show. All these boys. Owen, come here, buddy.
Look who's here, Opie. Who's that? Who's that, buddy?
I know it's not soft.
We can touch him.
All right, judges, could you put your scores in, please? Okay, so this entrant has scored a 26.5, which is a very solid professional standard. I think our challenge algorithm thing is not working, so ignore that, and we'll just have to keep each other accountable here. But congratulations to the entrant. This is a solid professional standard. Does anyone have any feedback to offer? Judge 3, you're sitting sort of in the middle of the scores there. Could you give us some feedback for this entrant?
Yes, that's me. So I really enjoyed the storytelling in this one. Obviously, it was a quick birth because it looks like the midwife missed it. So it felt that it was missing the beginning part of the journey for me, which I accept is not possible when it's a quick birth and you miss it. I really enjoyed the interaction of the children and there's a really good mix of sort of music and ambient noise. I thought the audio, there was some improvements that could be made in the audio, as well as some inconsistencies in the color grading. So but all in all, beautiful professional practice. It's the sort of thing that I would expect a photographer, a videographer to produce from a birth. So congratulations.
Thank you so much for that. Let's go to hear from Judge 1 now, who scored this at 29. can we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I loved the intro. I loved that the entrant had coincided the transitions with the music. Yeah, I felt like some of the color grading was a little bit mismatched in some of the clips, and overall I feel like it had quite a pink tint to it. But I think it was really well told, and I enjoyed watching it.
Amazing. Does anyone else have anything to offer that for the entrant that may up level it, or should we move on? Okay, let's move on. We have video number 3, which is called The Birth of Maeve, and I will just get that up now.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear May. Happy birthday to you.
Wonderful. Okay, judges, could you please input your scores? This entrant has scored a 35.5, which is a solid bronze award. And this entrant has not asked for feedback, so we'll move on to the next video. Just a little note, it kills the judges not to give feedback on why they have scored the way they've scored. So if you get a chance to ask for feedback, yes, you're right, Selena. Yes, if you get a chance to ask for feedback, please do, because I think the wealth of wisdom that these judges can offer is incredible. So we have video number 4. Just confirming with everyone, this is The Birth of Junie, I think.
There's a light in your eyes, brings me home every time. I can't find my way anymore. Every day and the days over. Held you here in my heart, like the sky was the stars. You.
Okay, wow, a minute goes really fast. Judges, can you please input your scores? So this entrant has scored a 35.5, which is another bronze award. Well done to the entrant. Now we have someone sitting in gold. So this is an automatic challenge, also as well as yeah, sorry, I'm saying 35.5. It should be 36. Just sorry. So that is actually a double challenge. Someone can choose to sorry, what? It's an auto challenge, and it's also someone can choose to challenge. So let me know what you would like to do, judges.
Sorry, I don't need to intercept there. Generally, when it's an auto challenge, because that is the higher number, you would typically go with that. Yeah.
Great. Okay. All right. So this is an automatic challenge. Who would like to start off?
I'll start. So for this film, I loved the transition between the scenes. I love how they faded into one another. I feel like that was a nice tool for storytelling, and sometimes it can get distracting, but I thought it added in this sense. I really liked the color grading. I know sometimes I don't even know what to call it. Like, it wasn't necessarily dark and moody. It almost had like a green tint, but it was so artfully done. And it makes me wonder if this person edits their photos similar, which I love when people match their photo and film up. But I love the color grading here. And I scored this one high because I felt like it had some creative scenes where it was kind of the artist was shooting from the perspective of the participant. So, you know, maybe the partner watching the birthing person and the baby. There was one scene where it was like triple layered, you know, it was the partner, the sibling, and then both of these people watching the birthing person and the baby. And I just thought that there was some really artful storytelling there, which is why I scored mine the way I did.
That's great. Thank you, Carmen. I think I saw Andrew put up his hand earlier, so let's just go to him. Hang on 1 second. Andrew, do you have some? You are on your side, by the way, but do you have some points for us?
I'm not sure why I'm on my iPad. So yeah, I agree with a lot of those comments. The colors were lovely. Like, I really loved that the colors and the music in terms of the lyrics and matching what we were seeing of being closer together through that moment was lovely. Some nice cross dissolves, and I love some of those sort of orbiting overhead shots, really nicely composed. There was a lot that I loved about it. I think I love seeing the dad yawn, like the authenticity of that, being a dad, knowing what that's like. So yeah, lots to love. I guess the thing that was, and I wanted to put bronze for this, but the thing that helped me get back again was the music, the audio side of things. I felt like it was competing with the dialogue at times. So if I've got this right, I think it's like an 8.5 minute video, and I think it's the same song the whole way, which felt a bit a bit long. There were 2 times when it dipped down 3:30 and then again at 6:40 where it would have been an opportunity to change it, have a bit of variety. And it came back and I just found myself, I was just, I guess I was getting a bit tired of that. So that was really one of the biggest things that held me back. But visually, I loved it. I've got other notes, but that's probably
Thank you so much for that feedback. Some great feedback. Selena.
Yeah, look, I just want to echo both of those sets of comments. So I put this as the 26. So I was the low judge on this one. I agree with the comment on the music. I did feel it was very much competitive. And look, to be honest, it was, in my opinion, far too long. I think the same story could have been told just as beautifully in less images, less footage. So, and you know, sort of removing some of that duplicity, again, that repetitiveness of the imagery. There was some very repetitive things that, you know, sort of could have been just pick the best clip from a moment rather than picking all the clips from the moment. Pick the best one, and that's the best way to tell your story. I agree with the color toning. I did feel there was some inconsistencies between the grading and in segments of the image of the film. And I felt that was off-putting for me. Like, it started off quite green and then it went warm and then it went blue. So that is a big issue for me, because that is something that can be rectified and corrected in post-production. Probably the only other thing is there were a few clips that I felt made me a bit seasick, where they were either handheld or they kind of, you know, like, yeah, maybe they orbited, like what Andrew sort of said, but there was a few clips that kind of maybe just go wee. And so I think just being very, very careful when you are using any kind of correction as well as any kind of movement, that you're actually not making the viewer feel a bit seasick. So just be careful with those things. So I've thrown it in professional standard for that reason. And the only other comment I'm going to make is also be very careful with your typography, because I don't know if this baby is named Junie, Juvie, Jury, or something else. And the script, I think, at the beginning doesn't clearly help to explain, like, I think it's not the right choice of font and typography for this particular name of this child. So
Yeah, some great points there, Selena. Does anyone else want to make a comment before the judges rescore? Rihanna.
Sorry, it took a second for the mic to come on. Yeah, I can see what everybody is saying. I definitely do feel, though, it is above professional standard. Like, the techniques that the photographer has used alone, like what Andrew said about the orbiting and the variety in the types of perspectives that the videographer has been able to get, as well as the color grading, I feel like that is, yeah, above professional standard. I love the song choice. I do agree that it was a little bit long, and like what Selena said, a couple of the clips probably could have been left out, and the stabilization on a few of them as well, yeah, it did throw me, but they were quite minor in my opinion compared to the amount of effort and you know, special effects that the videographer had put into this film.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your feedback. So judges, if you could just re-input your scores. The entrant is currently sitting on a 36, which is a bronze award, and you can all choose to rescore or stay where you're at. Or, yeah. Judge 4, you just need to go in the line 25. Has everyone rescored? Can you just give me a thumbs up if, yeah. Well done. So you've got a few extra points, and this entrant has come in at a 37, so which is a high bronze. So well done to the entrant. Congratulations. We will move on to the next video. Sorry, I've just shared the same video. Give me one. Oh, no, here we are. Okay.
That's it. Go with it. Sink in and surrender. Ground down.
Oh, sorry. Don't know what happened there. Just stopped on me. My apologies. Okay, I think I messed that up. I'm sorry. We played a bit of the first 44 seconds and then we played till minute 2. But that is the video we're scoring. So judges, could you please input your scores? I'm loving this spread. Okay, so currently the entrant is sitting at a 27, which is a professional practice. We have the opportunity for a challenge if you would like. Yes, Rihanna. Sorry. Yeah, go.
Yeah. Does that work now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll challenge it. I really liked this. I feel like it was a bit quirky and a little bit different to like, you know, the regular birth film. I loved that the videographer had included a lot of like the humorous audio and like the upbeat kind of song choice as opposed to more of a you know, slow sentimental type soundtrack. I love sorry, reading my notes. The only thing that I could really fault was some of the transitions could have been a bit smoother with their transition, and a couple of the clips had blown highlights, but I think it was really emotional, really different, and yeah, I can't say much more about it. I'd love to see some of the other judges come up a bit.
Does anyone? Okay, sorry, hang on. So Judge 4, you're currently sitting at a 19, which is just below professional or approaching professional standard. Can we get your thoughts, please, on why you scored the way you did?
Yeah. Can you see me? My image isn't coming up.
We can.
Sorry. I had to relocate. I was running out of power, so I've had to move the whole dining room table across the room. Yes. So, I mean, this might be a personal thing, I guess, because of the comments that we just heard. But and then this is a recurring theme for me. But the music, it was upbeat. I just found it a bit boppy. I literally was sort of bopping. I like this. And it was quirky and it was fun. And I can see that. I guess. Let me see some constructive things here. So, like for me, music. I found that when there was that switch and it went to photos, I think it was, and the music stopped. That was quite quite jarring for me. A suggestion could have been using an audio bridge from the moment after that. What was beautiful, there was a comment, "Oh, you're so beautiful, a little girl." I don't know until you try it how it would work, but bringing some audio over the top of that and leading into the video again, so that there is a bit more of a blend between the stills and the video, could have helped. Yeah, I felt like the music felt, the best way to describe it is it felt a bit like stock music, yeah, so a bit repetitive, and the titles at the end a bit chunky and heavy at the bottom, so it's hard to remember it all at this point in time, but some of the points I have.
Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to make a comment? Lena.
I would like to echo all of that from you, Andrew. Rihanna, I love the opportunity to have an upbeat music attached to a birth film, because I think that there is that fantastic opportunity in certain birth films that really fits. For me, I don't felt it fit in this particular story. I felt that it was a bit jarring, and just as Andrew sort of mentioned. I also feel that some of the transitions between the different clips were actually a bit too harsh and sort of a bit too sort of sudden for me. I feel that, when you're, transitioning, a beautiful film is something that transitions beautifully, both in terms of music, in terms of imagery, in terms of everything. You don't actually really notice the transitions, and that's the sign of a good film. If you start to notice the transitions, or you start to notice the changes between music or the changes between the imagery or the clips, then that's where I think it's not been put together as well as the entrant has the opportunity to do with the technology that we have today. I also felt, again, some inconsistencies in color grading. I'm a really big one for color, and the images that stills at the actual birth, just making sure that this is the right one I'm referring to. I loved the inclusion of the birth stills at the actual birth, but I also felt that they were completely different in terms of processing. So it's like it was very much, it went from this beautiful, soft processing in the film to quite harsh, contrasty birth stills. So that's why I've held it back, but it is a good length. I love the inclusion of the doggy doula, and I do love the inclusion of the birth stills. I just felt there was some differences in the processing of those that could have been improved. So that's my feedback.
Thank you so much, Selena. Seriously, I'm loving all the feedback that everyone's giving. Carmen, did you want to make a comment? Did you have anything extra to add?
Sure. Not necessarily extra. I feel like most of the judges are saying the similar thing and just maybe articulating it differently. But I also agree that the transitions were, what I put in my notes specifically were that it transitioned like every 2 seconds with the song. So we're in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden we're looking at the dog, and then we're looking at the person giving birth, and then we're back in the kitchen, and now we're looking at candles. It just kind of like you didn't really get a chance to absorb the story, and it was almost too much for. I think it did it for like a minute, or I don't know. It went on a little bit longer than I would have liked it to. The quick transitions.
Rihanna, you have the right of reply, and then we will we'll rescore.
Yeah, I see everything that everyone's saying. I think that's really good feedback, and some of those things I didn't really see at first until they were pointed out. But I still stick by my opinion. I know everyone's going to think differently, and I think that the videographer was very brave in their song choice, and in that kind of humor. There is room for improvement, but I think, yeah, I'm happy with what I've scored.
Great. Okay, so Rihanna, if you can hold your score, and the rest of the judges, you can choose to stay where you are or come up to where Rihanna's asking for a silver. So could you please rescore now? Is that everyone? Yep, good. Okay, so well done to the entrant. You have got a 27, which scored a 27, which is a professional standard. So a few extra points there. So well done, Rihanna, for challenging that, and well done to the entrant. We will move on to the next video.
God, thank you so much for this miracle. Thank you so much. There's no other words. Thank you so much for Andrea, for Erica, for the strength. Lord, please bless us and keep us.
There is good news. There is great truth that you could never change, no matter what you do. You are loved more than you know, more than you could hope for. After every
God, thank you.
I'm sorry. It seems like if I put my mouse over it to see what the timing is, it cuts out. So that was the first 47 seconds. Do we feel the need to watch the extra 13 seconds? I can get it for you. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I will not mouse over. Okay, judges, could you please put your scores in? Okay, this entrant has scored a 23. That is a professional standard. Well done to the entrant. This entrant has asked for feedback. So is there anyone who would like to offer some feedback to this entrant? Andrew, let's hear from you. I'll just unmute you on my end. There you go.
Yeah, I loved the dad's passion in the story, like encouraging. That is so cool that he was right there with his partner, and that was great. And there was a clever little audio bridge in there. It's such an honor to witness and support you. Thank you so much. So that was a little clever thing. So just some feedback right at the beginning. It's cram-packed with a lot of stuff, and I feel like storytelling-wise, it gave it all away at the very beginning. So the prayer was I liked the prayer at the beginning, but then so you probably didn't need the titles. The titles sort of explained it, and then it was being revealed as the story went along. So we kind of were left with nothing. We knew what was going to happen. So that would be from a storytelling point of view, because in the images that follow, it gives that information again with the little cutaways of the things on the pinboard. And then in the title as well, you have there is the title when it's competing with the image behind it. There's the title of the hospital as well. So maybe pick a different image. We'd already seen the sign for the hospital, so that was a comment there. So yeah, I think that was a big thing. It's just the way it was set up, and given away at the beginning. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that. That's some great things you can put into practice there. Does anyone else have any? Yeah, Carmen, you read my mind. I was just going to ask you.
Can you guys hear me? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So the opening scene with the prayer, I actually liked the opening scene. I thought it was touching. I thought it kind of just like gave some extra context for what the couple might be thinking. It just kind of like gave the story some depth, which some birth films can be missing, since birth films usually follow a pretty standard, labor, birth, postpartum. So I thought it gave it some depth. I think the part of this film that could have used some improvement were on the handshaking. There was a lot of, you can tell that the majority of this birth was shot without like a gizmo or anything like that. Is that what it's called? A gizmo? Steady, keeps the camera steady.
Yeah, a gimbal.
A gimbal. That's what it is, a gizmo. Yeah, it was a little shaky, and then I thought the color grading was a little bit shadowy and maybe even a little oversaturated. It kind of just, there was a lot of really dark spots that took detail out of the shots. So I think those two things kind of took away from my score there.
Thank you so much for that. Does anyone have anything to add, or should we move on to the next video? Great. Okay. We will move on to the next video. I'm in a flow now, guys. I'm in a flow. I've got it. I know what I'm doing. Okay. I think we are on some. Okay, judges, could you please input your scores? Sorry, there was not barking in that video. That was my dog barking. We have a score of 30, which is just making its way into the Bronze Awards. And we have the opportunity for a challenge if you would like.
I'll say something I really liked. Oh, sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
This
Was that
hang
was
on.
that
This
up to me?
Yeah. So this entrant has not asked for feedback. So if it is challenged, we can offer our feedback. But if it is not, then we'll just move on.
So where did you say it's sitting at the moment?
It's sitting at a 30, and you are the currently highest score, so you can choose to challenge it, but or not.
Oh, I mean, I'm happy to keep it at that. But, I mean, I would have. This is one I would have liked to have talked about, but I mean, I'm happy to go with the other judges' calls. So yeah.
There's nothing wrong with challenging it, Andrew, and seeing if you can get the entrance some more points. So
okay, we'll do it because I think
go for it.
Of the videos, this is the one one of the ones I would have liked to talk about. But.
That sounds good. Okay, Andrew is choosing to challenge. So could you give us, plead your case, and then we'll give the other judges an opportunity to score, and I'll come and grab our
dog. I guess this was one of the videos that I really liked the music. It is slow paced. But I feel, I just felt like there was a good, like equal weighting of audio and visual in this video in terms of professionalism. I feel like the visuals, there was a lot of variety in. I went back to watch this a few times to try and figure out what it was that I liked about it, and there was variety. Each change, there was a different angle, a different shot type, different pieces of information. There was a couple of times where it was maybe a little bit repetitive, but I just felt that this was really well put together, and it had me a little bit curious too, with the little in the middle there was one little bit of a break where there was a shot down the road, the travel scene with the day, and it left me, well, what happened there? There was a few changes of clothes. There was that indication that of some sort of break. So I'm assuming there was a night, there was a sleep in between in that period. I feel like it didn't give everything away. It had me curious. It had me interested. And there was no distractions for me other than kind of the distraction that caused the curiosity. But, oh, what's that? And it made me think. I think the typography was on point. I thought the music was on point. I thought the camera work, the editing, I just thought everything was really well done. That's
great. Thank you so much for that. Now, both Judge 2 and Judge 3 are sitting in that mid-range. Can I get Judge 2? Can I get your thoughts?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So actually, I wanted to start with something I really liked about this film. I know this is like, not the way challenges are supposed to go, but Andrew was talking a little bit about how this film kind of like had some curious moments, and a part of the film that actually gave me some pause in a good way. It's like the music stopped at some point when the birthing person was laboring. There was like a pretty long pause where the music stopped and right before it started again. And I actually kind of liked that. It wasn't like a climactic moment, but it definitely was like, if you weren't watching and the music just stopped, you would turn around and look like, what happened? It's almost like you're holding your breath, waiting to see what's going to happen next. So I actually did like that. That was pretty unique. I haven't seen that in a birth film before. I think I scored the way I did. Let me make sure I'm reading the correct notes. I felt like the music made it a little bit more cinematic. I think there was a little bit of like repetitiveness in the scenes and the way they were filmed, like the really close-ups of the hands and maybe like close-ups of like hip squeezes. There was quite a bit of that. I think it could have been a little bit shorter than it was if some of those scenes weren't duplicated. But that's it. I actually really liked it overall.
See a lot of nodding heads, so obviously the judges are in agreement with things. Rihanna, do you have anything to add? You were sitting on the lower end here. Did you want to add anything, or?
Yeah, pretty much everything that's been said. I actually found the road clip really confusing, like right in the middle of the film. I thought originally it was going to kind of like flick back and forth to like the past and present, or like the present and the future or something, but there was no follow through. And I found like in parts some of the color grading was a little bit off, but I did like it, and I think it had a lot of potential to improve.
Selena, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, look, Andrew, thank you for challenging, because I think it is good, absolutely, to have a discussion around something that you really enjoy. So it's very valuable for the photographer and the videographer in this case. I agree with everything that's already been said. Probably the only couple of things that I found the road clip also to be confusing. It didn't fit with the story for me. And whilst, yes, it left me curious, it also left me kind of going, what the? So I don't know if that was the best choice. I would have loved to, like Rihanna said, to have some follow through about what that actually related to, because to me it was completely left of center. Probably the only thing that I would encourage for the photographer moving forward, so I put it in professional standard, is to just be very conscious of angles. There are some quite unflattering angles in this clip. That, you know, like, it is hard when you are dealing with body shapes and of all sizes, but I do feel that there are some unflattering angles that I think could have been improved or left out. So it is just one of those things to be very, very conscious of. We're conscious of that obviously when we're photographing, but to also be conscious of that when we're filming. And one particular one is actually where the clip actually goes down the legs of the birthing person. And I found that to be a little bit jarring. Having said that, I do embrace all body types. So, but just be conscious of your angles is my advice. But yeah, look, that's all I've got to really add. But yeah, definitely worth discussing. Yeah.
Some great wisdom there. Andrew, you have the right of reply and one more chance to convince your fellow judges to come up to you currently sitting in silver. Sorry, you were muted.
Oh,
yeah, I'll have to start again.
Appreciate hearing everyone's perspective. I was actually mulling on this video as I was walking the dog yesterday because I was actually really torn to whether that travel scene was brilliant or like I'm on the mind that if you introduce a concept or a look and feel or whatever, that kind of needs to be repeated like 3 to 5 times to sort of establish that it's a deliberate thing. And I was the same. I was like, this is it. You know, there was nothing else. And so I was really torn. Is this artist actually pushing my buttons, you know, in a innovative, cutting edge way? And so they're either deliberately done that, which I was kind of giving them credit for, or they're unaware of it. So only they'll know. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Andrew, can you please hold your score? Andrew's currently asking you all to come up with him to silver, and the rest of the judges, you can please rescore now. Okay, we have come up to a 32. So well done to the entrant. Those few extra points always make a difference. So thank you, Andrew, for challenging that. I think that was very fortuitous, as this entrant did not ask for feedback. So everyone got a chance to discuss a video I'm sure they were wanting all to discuss. So we'll move on to the next film. Give me 1 second here. They're all out of order in my folder, so I have to just make sure that I'm getting the right film.
I won't mind if I love it till the end of time. Darling, all the privilege would be mine. Don't take it for granted. Love divine. I felt heaven in my worlds collide. You took this wounded heart of mine, put it back together. On my
Okay. Judges, could you please input your scores? Wow, this entrant has got a 39, which is 1 point away from a silver. So this will actually go to a review, I think. Is that correct, Selena? Yeah, so this, anything that is 1 point away from the next award level will go to a review process where the judges will then consider whether it stays in its current award or moves up to the next award. I don't think there is an opportunity for a challenge here, but there is an opportunity for feedback. So I'd love to get Selena's feedback.
Thank you, Dania. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that this has the opportunity for another go in a review process. I loved this film. I felt that the connection to country was beautiful, and it was really special to witness some of the traditions and to also have that included and celebrated in this film. I feel that that introduction and the titling and the was great with the background of the Indigenous art, together with the clarification of why the baby's middle name was Moon, because it was born on a pink moon. So I really feel that was done really well, and it was beautiful inclusion. Length was fantastic. I enjoyed the I wondered originally why it went straight into active labor, and then I realized throughout the film it didn't give that away straight away. It actually throughout the film towards the middle and then towards the end that it was a quick birth, and that was qualified in the audio and in the content. You see the midwife coming in and giving a cuddle to the dad, and that's the first time you see the midwife. And then actually, that reiteration, that debriefing and that reflection from the mum, the birthing person, was beautiful to actually qualify that. My primary piece of advice with this one, I felt that the color palette reflected the culture, which was lovely. I would have, however, loved with the music. So I'm going to be the music Nazi here now, Andrew. With the music, I did enjoy the music selection. However, I would have loved to have seen, given that we had that connection to country, some level of link back to that country, back to that Indigenous culture. I'm not sure if that's a permitted thing. I know that sharing of art and stuff can be a challenge in terms of permission. So I'm not sure if that's a permitted thing by the filmmaker, but I would have loved to have seen some kind of audio that related back to the Indigenous heritage that we were witnessing. So yeah, it's exciting that this has got an opportunity for review. So beautiful film.
That's some really great feedback for the entrant, Selena. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything to add? Rihanna, we haven't heard from you for a while. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, it was essentially everything Selena said for me. The cultural aspect of everything, the connection and love between the family, the fact that it was a fast birth. The only real comment I had was some of the angles in the clips were kind of repeated or They were like so close together that it wasn't like a smooth transition. It was kind of just like a little bit disjointed. But besides that, everything else was great. I loved the colors. I loved the story. I think the audio was beautifully captured. And yeah, I'm happy that it's going to go for a review as well.
Thank you, Rihanna. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, great. Well, that is an amazing score, and we will move on to our next video. Thank you so much for your feedback, judges. Okay, so I think I've figured out that it just automatically cuts off at 47 seconds. I don't know if that's my computer doing things, so I apologize in advance.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It's so bad.
Okay, it looks like we're getting 47 seconds. Hang on 1 second. Here we go.
I can't.
Okay, judges, can you please input your scores? So this entrant scores a 27, which is professional practice. Well done to the entrant. And they have requested feedback. So does anyone want to offer some feedback to start off? Rihanna, yes, please.
I just want to say that I think this videographer has done really well in what looks to be a really difficult lighting situation with the projector and the color casts. The only thing I really had to comment on was some of the focus issues that were in it. But I feel like it was very authentic, and I loved that she included, you know, some of Mum's not so desirable behaviors in the clip, the sounds and actions that she was saying. And I would have loved for it to had a bit of a more gradual ending. I felt like it finished quite abruptly, but I think it was amazing, and I thought it was a bronze level.
Thank you. Ooh, thank you, Rihanna. Sorry, just trying to take a bite between comments. Does anyone else have any feedback to offer, please? Carmen.
I'll go. All right. So I literally said almost the same thing. I put in my notes, to no fault to the creator, the beginning scenes were a bit too dark and contrasty and shadowy, and we all know that lack of light does cause focus issues. It's just hard to avoid. But I loved the star projector scenes. You know, some of that B-roll was beautiful. I think it really, like the lack of light really worked when it worked, and then it just didn't when it didn't. So that's just so hard to work around. But then when the lights did come on after baby was born, I think there's some scenes where the birthing person is like sitting on the ground and the sibling has like come into the room, and there's like there's some backlighting on the kind of like giving a halo around the sibling, and it was like green. So it was like the light that was available kind of gave like a green cast, and I didn't necessarily like that part. And then even with the light on, it seemed like some of the scenes were a bit like out of focus. So that's why I gave the score I gave.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Selena.
Sorry, I'll just be very quick. I echo all of that. I wonder with this particular clip for awards purposes, not necessarily client purpose, but for awards purposes, black and white would have fixed a lot of those issues. So a conversion into black and white, yeah, you wouldn't have understood the stars on the roof. But for the client, that is perfect. Like to have it, they won't care necessarily about the colors because that is what the birth environment was like. For an awards case, so it's the same with like photos. You might have an image that goes to a client, but you might edit that differently for awards purposes. So the same can go for films as well. So, and I would have loved to have seen. I think a conversion to black and white could have actually fixed some of the issues here. Wouldn't have fixed the focus, obviously, but it actually could have fixed some of the color casting that we were seeing. And that, to me, is what really held it back, was the color casting.
Yeah, thanks for that, Selena. If it's not a challenge, am I allowed to jump off that feedback? Am I? Yeah. So, with what Selena's saying, even if there is an intentional use of black and white, you could still add those projector scenes in the color. But if you use the black and white enough intentionally to add it as a thread going through the whole video, then it brings the viewer on a journey as well in that sense.
Can I add just one more quick thing?
Yeah.
Well done to the filmmaker for including the phone ringing right at the moment of birth. I loved that. That cracked me up, and it added an extra element. So yeah, that was it was great to hear that. So well done.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your feedback, and well done to the entrant on a solid professional standard. We'll move on to the next film now. Okay, and also just for clarity on this film, it is a different film. It appears to be the same name as another entry, but it is a different film. Oh, sorry about that. I just quit the Judges, can you please input your scores while I get the screen back up so we know what video we're talking about? Judge 3, we're just waiting for your score. Great. We have a 33, which is a bronze award, and this entrant has not asked for feedback, so we just have to move on, which kills us as judges. Okay, I will get the next. So congratulations to the entrant. That is a bronze award. Okay, judges, could you please input your scores? Okay, we have a score of 28, which is professional practice. So congratulations to the entrant. And this entrant has asked for feedback. Andrew, we haven't heard from you in a while. Do you have any feedback to offer for the entrant? I'll unmute you. Okay, you're on, Andrew. Hang on. Andrew, do you have, oh, audio's gone for him. Okay. All right, we will, let's hear some feedback from Selena, and then I think we'll take a 5-minute break for everyone. And yeah, so let's get our feedback for this entrant, and then we'll have a 5-minute break. Selena, what did you have to say?
Yeah, look, I put this in the professional standard range. There's a few things that I would have loved to have seen different for this film that some feedback I've got. So I felt that there was some great use of panning and focus pulling, and I really enjoyed like inclusion of things like the dog and the moment of birth, and at the moment of birth and after the fact. I did feel it was a bit too long. I felt it could have been told in a same story in a shorter period of time. The color was very much off for me. I felt like there was some significant improvements being able to make in color. So maybe consider a black and white for something like this in future. And And I think probably the other key thing is that a different choice of music I've also got in my notes, but the exposure. At the moment of birth, it goes from being quite dark to being quite bright. And that's something that, like was a bit jarring for me. It kind of went from one, sort of moment to, whoa, in quite bright and in my face. So, the technical, I think there's a lot of improvement and opportunity for improvement on the technical aspects. But the storytelling was good. And some great moments in terms of pulling, in terms of focus, pulling and panning. So
thank you so much. That is some great practical feedback. Does anyone else have anything to add to that for our entrant? I'm being told to check my messages. Okay. All right. It seems like Judge 4 does not have any audio. So maybe we could just get feedback from one more person, and then we'll take a 5-minute break, and I will help Judge 4 with his audio. Brianna.
With this one, I really liked the videographer's use of slow-mo and real-time. I feel like that was really successful in this film. I also really liked they took a bit of a risk with some of their creative transitions. And yeah, I agreed with the color inconsistency and that perhaps it could have been in a black and white.
Great. Thank you so much, Brianna. Carmen, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I can add something. With this film, of course, there was like some really pretty bokeh effect in the beginning, transitioning to another scene. I thought it was a little bit long, and there was some repetitive scenes that could have been left out, even just in the opening 1 minute that we all viewed together. There was like 3 different scenes of mom laboring on the couch, and the video was kind of panning in the same direction, and so there was some similar scenes there that probably could have just been like the artist could have just picked one, their favorite. And then something I really liked about this film is I like how it faded. I like how it kind of lost focus and then brought the subject back into focus. And I think that can either be like an unfortunate circumstance, or it can be like a tool for, creative storytelling. And I feel like in this film, it was, it kind of enhanced the film. It added for me.
Thank you so much, Carmen. And thank you, everyone. We are going to have a 5-minute break so that entrants can get judges can get a snack, a drink, or take a toilet break. And we will come back to you in 5 to 10 minutes. So thank you all for watching. And we're about halfway through the videos, I think, or maybe I'm a little bit. We're about halfway through. So that's perfect. I do not want to stop recording. Okay, welcome back. Facebook streaming is active. Okay, I think we are online. Okay, so we've all had a bit of a stretch break, and we're coming back, and we will start with the next video. Sorry, get myself sorted here. Sorry, just getting my bearings straight and trying to find, there we go.
Your mom may not remember, but for our anniversary after the loss, I got her a card. And in that card I wrote, make the plan, execute the plan, abandon the plan. And that's kind of what happened. We made our plan, tried to execute it, went off the rails a little bit, and then we just rolled with it. And we got you.
Tossed in like a castaway, what we wanted, not what we thought we wanted.
It was hard to be. It was like physically it was very easy, but emotionally it was hard to not know like if he was going to be healthy and safe.
Not what we thought.
Okay, judges, can you please input your scores? Okay, this entrant has scored a 37, which is high bronze, and we have a judge sitting in gold. So this goes to an automatic challenge. Let's hear your thoughts. Who wants to start us off? Selena.
Yeah, I'm the one that's in the gold range, only just in the gold range at a 45. But I'm glad I did that because it does give me the opportunity to challenge this and for us to have a good discussion around this particular one. I'm going to go through some of my notes. I do have a lot of them, so please be patient with me. What I absolutely loved about this from the very get-go was the narration by the parents. It really spoke to me in terms of, it helped to set the scene. It helped to, sort of tell the story throughout and, helped to add to the storytelling, I feel. I love the inclusion of the maternity and what looks like a fresh 48 really bookend the entire film. The music was great. References to Lego and penises made me giggle. So the storytelling I found was beautiful, and throughout the film, I'll be honest, I cried, I laughed, and I snorted all in the same film. Because it brought some funny moments, it brought some emotional moments. There was a really beautiful mix of emotion. It took you on a journey throughout the film. But yeah, the comment I've got here is the commentary is seriously the best thing ever here. I enjoyed the music. It was complimentary. There was some issues in terms of consistency in processing, and I felt that if you're going to process things in a particular way, do it in chunks rather than mix and match it throughout. So make it deliberate. This was done in some cases throughout. And yeah, I really enjoyed everything that this film had to offer. It has some areas for improvement, hence why I didn't go 50 or higher with my score, but I've popped it just in that gold category because I felt that that's where it deserved to be.
Got it. Sorry, Rihanna. Is that a hand going up? Thank you so much for your feedback, Selena. I'll say it again. Yeah, would anyone else like to offer some feedback? Rihanna, it was a hand. Okay, I got it.
No, originally I was trying to tell you we couldn't hear you, but I do want to talk about it. Yeah, I completely agree with everything Selena said. I'm actually really glad she's challenged it because I've, after thinking about it and listening to her feedback, I want to go into the gold range as well. I just thought this was the cutest thing ever. Like, imagine being this baby and like watching it as you get older and listening to how your parents talk about you and explain your journey and how much you're loved. Yeah, it gave me goosebumps. Like, I think it's just so well done. And yeah, the only thing I faulted as well was the editing consistency, just the colors in some areas, and like a couple of the highlights were like pushing that limit. But I want to go up to gold as well.
Does anyone else have anything to add in addition to what Selena and Rihanna have said?
I'll chime in just because I see my score is like deviated from everyone else's. So I actually really liked the storytelling in this birth film. I feel like the storytelling was like A1. I loved the partner's audio at the beginning of the film and how it kind of just set the stage for just giving us some insight into what this couple might be feeling, during the actual birth. I put in my notes that the audio was that it was a little bit loud in the birthing person's interview towards the end of the film, but I also have to admit I don't even remember that part. It's just something I put in my notes just so I can explain my score. And then I do remember that the moment of birth was a little bit contrasty and dark and shadowy, like maybe the like if it was processed with the same LUTs. Am I even using that term correctly? I never know if it's, if you say the acronym or if it's LUTs, but I feel like the beginning was really cinematic. And then at the moment of birth, that those LUTs maybe did not work the same way that they did at the beginning of the film. So I wish it was processed a little bit different right in the middle there in the climactic moment.
Thank you for that, Carmen. Okay, we will rescore. Unless anyone has anything else to say, we will rescore and everyone can change their scores. This is a 41, which is a silver award. So well done to the entrant. And thank you, judges, for awarding this entrant for their work. Okay, we'll move on to the next video. Now, if I have this correctly, we will be looking at this video here.
Of course, I was going to have a home birth. I knew that the birth would happen at home. That's just what makes sense. I'm a doula. I am an up-and-coming midwife, future midwife, and that's just what makes sense for me, my style, and everything that I believe in. Also, Demira was going to be my bookend, and so she was going to be my final birth, and I wanted to document everything. In July, the middle of July, I had a tumor on my pituitary gland burst and totally rupture. So I knew that from that point forward, there was not going to be a home birth, that I was going to have to come to terms with the fact that I would meet this little one in a hospital. And I knew there was going to have to be a moment in time that I came to the realization that this is very serious and this is going to be a highly medical birth. And so,
sorry to cut that off in the middle of a sentence. Judges, can you please input your scores? We have an incredibly split panel here. This is the exciting part of judging. The entrant is currently sitting on 41, which is a silver award. We have 3 judges in the gold range, and I'm not going to point any fingers, but 1 judge in the professional practice range. I would love to, this is obviously an automatic challenge, and so go at it, people. Tell me why it should be in gold, Rihanna. Go.
Oh, you unmuted me at the same time.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
I think the question should be, why isn't it a gold, to be honest? It's like perfect in like every way. It has such a moving story. It's told in such a unique perspective. I'm just so grateful that this photographer has gone out of their way to do something against the grain. And I think it was a big risk, and it's so unique in so many different aspects. I love that it obviously tells the story and what this mum and family have been through, but there's also such a bigger message being portrayed. And I feel like they've done so many different things combined. Like, it's not just a birth story. It's not just a documentary. It's like a combination of both, but also an ode to her baby that has passed away. And I think that just makes it even higher. I can't rate it any higher. I think it's just amazing.
I just want to also point out, thank you, Rihanna. I just want to point out for our viewers that this is not in the full birth story category. This is actually in the documentary category. So it is being judged against the documentary standards. And so, yes, I just wanted to point that out, that that's where this video is landing. Andrew, you are currently sitting in just bordering professional practice. So let's hear your thoughts. What's this video doing for you?
Well, first of all, I want to honor the story and the experience that the family and the mother's been through. And so these comments are not linked at all to the story. The story is powerful, and I think it's very brave to share it. And so I just want to honor that first and foremost. Okay, so bear with me. I feel under a bit of pressure here, so I got to try and get my thoughts together. So I mean, obviously, when the birth was filmed, there was no way of telling how it was going to unfold. So this is sort of done retrospectively. So you're working with the footage you have, and I totally understand that, and I get that. And so it's so this is driven by the interview. So this is one of the few, the only one I think we have in our group where we've got that scenario. So we don't have anything to compare it against, but so it's definitely a whole nother skill set. And so yeah, the way that's edited together is really important. There's a few points, let me see here, where it could be quite a bit tighter, and so where the visuals and the script are saying the same thing. So I thought I had it written down here. This was getting late at night. But literally, and it was in the, it was getting towards the really key moment. I'm really disappointed. I don't know where that went. That's not going to have the same impact now, but the mother was saying the same things that she actually said in the cutaways, and it happened about 4 or 5 times. And so that's where you can cut that out of the script and let the cutaways tell the story, because it's already very driven by the interview. Again, it's just unnecessary. It's saying it twice. So again, because it's driven by the interview, that those visuals, I guess, are pretty important. So who knows where this was done in relation to where the birth was? It could be a different country, could be anything like that. So it could be all sorts of reasons why not. I mean, I think if they were in the same country, can you still hear me? Or the same place, I would have loved to have seen the interview being done in their home with that context. Like a convention center room just wasn't, I mean, it wasn't adding to the story in that sense. I mean, the story is still powerful because of the story, but I'm just talking about decision making that was made in that. And then in that key moment when she gets to the point of breaking down in the interview, and then they go to the phone to reveal the sad news. I felt that quite jarring, going to a white background. But in the beginning it was white text on black, and then this is white with a phone. Ways that I could have seen that being better and tied in better would be, this is just ideas off the top of my head, like weaving in the cultural thing and some of the images of she's bringing her family into the birth space with the material or the textiles. You could potentially have something like that in the background with white text on a darker background, or symbolically have a reenact of a candle, maybe, where there's text symbolizing sort of remembrance. That was some ideas, but it just really kind of like it was a powerful moment, and that still won out because it was such a powerful story. But I'm just talking about how it's presented, ways it could be, I feel like it could have been done better. Another idea maybe could have been reenacting someone picking up the other phone. So you're looking over their shoulder or something, and then you're seeing the speech bubbles come up. So you're sort of more grounded in the story rather than a stark white screen. She talked about bookends. I was just interested in that family. Who are the other players? Who are the other characters? Was there a partner? Where are the siblings? So that's some thoughts. There's probably a lot more there, I guess. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Those are some really great, that's some really great feedback. Selena, yes, I see that hand.
I just want to, I really want to respond to that, because Andrew, I feel exactly the same. And I want to just give you the, sort of give you that feedback as well, that it's valid, and your opinion in that is very valid. For me, I actually quite enjoyed the text message, because it was the pivotal moment for me. It was what made me kind of, and when I was reading, I went, like I literally read it and I burst into tears straight away. I was expecting, I guess, because of the way that the film was set up, I was expecting a different result, a different outcome. So for me, it was very much like it was a jarring moment, but it needed to be a jarring moment. I think that is very relevant, and it needed to be at that stage. I completely agree about the choice of location for interview. That's why I didn't go for a full 50 on this one. I actually scored it a 47. And I felt that was, if it had been video filmed in a better location, then yes, I would have gone straight to the 50 mark. I feel though that, and I actually did question that in my mind, why that choice was made by the filmmaker. And I actually wonder if it was too hard in the home, if it was too hard in an environment that was related to this incident. Because, like, just to be able to talk about your story like she did, maybe it needed to be in a space that was neutral. Maybe it needed to be in a space that didn't have the same memories, because for her to get the words out, maybe that's what she needed. So I think that's where I landed with that one. The everything else, I think, is, this is one of the most beautiful and heartbreaking things I think I've ever watched. And for those that are watching on live stream, if you haven't seen this, you need to go and watch this. It's amazing, but do be prepared to have a tissue box with you. I think the only other thing I want to add in terms of responding to you, Andrew, is that we as birth photographers and filmmakers are used to photographing in the birth suite and filming in the birth suite. This is a new skill for this photographer or filmmaker, and that's the way that I felt about this. It's something that we don't do a lot of, you don't see a lot of. We tend to document the day of birth, and I feel that skill in getting a separate interview and the studio setup is something that could be still emerging for this filmmaker, which is why I've given a little bit of grace with that. And this feedback obviously is going to be fantastic for the filmmaker and for anyone else watching to get that feedback. But again, that's another reason I just didn't go to the 50, but there was also some grace given with that. The only other comment I had was that I would have loved to have heard an interview from some other people, other perspectives as well. So whether that would have been the father in the story, whether that would have been a midwife, or even, to be honest, the perspective of the filmmaker and the photographer who was in attendance on that day, and then what it was like to get that news. So I think having multiple perspectives would have been great. Other than that, I think it is incredibly brave. I've awarded this both for its storytelling, for the way in which it was presented to us, together with the fact that it's important that we share stories like this. So I'm up in the gold range, and I'm going to be staying there. This is an amazing story, and even if it's currently sitting in silver, but yeah, look, let's see if we can get it into the gold.
All right, judges, I will ask you to, that's all super great feedback, I think, and something the filmmaker can take away from this for sure, to improve their skills and also to keep on going, creating amazing work. Judges, can I ask you all to rescore, please?
Dania, do I get to write a reply?
Because it's an automatic challenge, I think, feel free to say something, but I think there's no right of reply necessarily.
It's up to you, Danielle.
Yeah, go for it, Rihanna.
Okay. I just wanted to, reply to the things that Andrew said. I agree with Selena in that your opinion is completely valid, and I did see the points that you mentioned. Some of them I hadn't picked up on originally. I do think you were right with how you said some of the footage wasn't in the best locations and things like that, and that all of this was done retrospectively after the event happened. And I did give grace for that, because I was kind of like, they didn't plan to have this happen. They did it afterwards, and they couldn't really go back to trying to change some of the things that they might have changed if they knew this situation was going to happen. And I agreed with Selena about the location being that way, but that the mum, perhaps didn't feel able to do that in her home, or that, yes, they were in different countries or different states, and that they couldn't be in a house like that. I actually also felt that I'm really grateful and glad that the family wasn't a part of it. I get why you'd want them to be, because they do reference them quite a bit. But I really felt like this solidarity of this mum having to tell her story on her own, in her own way, was really impactful. And I think that if you had, you know, other people's opinions, either from the family or from the photographer, that would have taken away from her story and how she wanted her daughter to be remembered. Not saying that would have been great to hear from the dad or other relatives, but I think for the purpose of what they were trying to do here, I think that was really important that she had to do this on her own. And yeah, I agree that the white background on the text was a little bit jarring, but I actually feel like the text was one of the highlights of the film, and that twist, that's what hit you. That's what, you know, no one was expecting that. Nobody was. And even though it was, you know, very sad and tragic what has happened, you kind of understood the rest of the documentary as soon as it got to that point. You were kind of like, oh, you know, this is a nice birth story. How is it different? And then this happening, and then it all just kind of made sense. So I really feel like without having that and the way it was presented, it wouldn't have had the same effect. So I still really believe it's a gold, and I hope that you guys can come up with a little bit.
Andrew seems like he's got one more thing to say, so I might just let you say that.
I just remembered the dialogue that I was trying to talk about, because it lost its punch when I couldn't remember the words. But so she was saying that was when she was concerned about how she was doing, and you sort of thought that she was through the worst of it. Like, she was like, am I okay? And then you heard the dialogue saying, oh, I'm okay. And then you heard her in the interview saying it, and it kind of went backwards a few times. So that was just the example of where you kind of probably didn't need to have both of those things. You can let, if it's in the story, you don't need to say it again in a narration, or use the narration and you don't have it. So that was that. I don't know if that helps you remember it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's super good. Thank you for that. Okay, let's rescore and see what we can do for this entrant. And because this is an automatic challenge, judges are able to go up or down. Okay, has that everyone rescored? Yeah. So we have a 44, which is a high silver, and will then go to a review later. So well done to the entrant. A very good job. I haven't actually watched the film myself. I'll be going to watch it later. I'm very intrigued now. Okay, moving on to the next film. And we're going back into the full birth story category.
This baby's coming out. Oh, fuck, this baby's definitely almost coming, honey.
That's good.
Judges, can you please enter your scores?
I'm just a little bit confused here.
Yeah. What's
I'm not feeling like my notes are matching up with the video that I've got here, so I'm a little.
did I play the wrong video?
I
It's
don't know.
possible.
Does it work for you guys or?
Sorry, yep, I played the wrong video. Sorry, everybody. That was the next one. I just went one ahead. My apologies. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
I was looking at the wrong line.
We can just score the next one if you'd prefer, just to, since you've just viewed it.
Yeah. Sure. Let's do that. So we're just scoring in line 36 instead of line 35. Okay, so this entrant, has scored. We have a lot of split panels here. Hey, so scored a 27, which is a professional standard, but there's the opportunity for a challenge here. Yes, Rihanna.
Is it good now?
Yes, I think so. I keep getting notes popping up saying that I need the presenter to resume the session. I don't know if Lacey is doing something behind the scenes.
Maybe. Yeah, okay. So I had in my notes, I felt like the details of this birth were captured really well. I feel like they really paid attention to detail. It wasn't just, big pullbacks of the entire scene. There was lots of variety in the close-ups and pullbacks. I love how they had the raw noises of birth and that they aren't left out. I feel like the story was very true to the real life events. I don't feel like it had any type of editing to be a certain way. I feel like the story was true. I love that actually, I think I've done the same thing as you. I think I've scored the opposite way around. Is it that way on the linked list? Yeah, no, sorry. I think I've switched 35 and 36. I can't hear you.
Okay, we're judging the one that starts with the Super 8 film effect. Hang on. Again, so sorry to those who are watching. It's a new process with the videos streaming live and everything, and we are trying to keep it as smooth as possible. But there are obviously still some bugs we need to work out. Rihanna, how are you going with your score?
No, well, I've got in my actual notes the score, the feedback for 36 is in 35 and 35 is in 36. So I don't know if the link's been swapped or something.
Okay. That's possible. Do you have the right score for this
So
video?
maybe because I don't think that personally, Rihanna, I don't think that the link has been switched. I don't recall that. Maybe if you know what your feedback is for this particular one and you feel that it's actually the wrong way around in terms of your feedback, just go with the one that you think this one sits with.
Yeah, but that score is different to the one that I've done.
Then re-enter your score.
Okay.
Yeah, re-enter your score according to this particular film.
Okay. We have a 25. Apologies to the entrant for the confusion there. That was partly my fault, but the entrant has asked for feedback. So the entrant is currently sitting in professional standard. Let's hear the feedback now, judges. Rana, did you want to keep going with your feedback? No. Okay. All right. We will ask Selena.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to this one. And for the sake of the live audience, it is a very manual process in the background, so little mistakes like this happen. So don't be too hard on yourself, Dania. We got here in the end. That's the main thing. Okay, so my feedback on this particular one is that there's a couple of things that I said. This is great, solid professional practice, which is exactly what we would expect from our best filmmaker. Some feedback for the entrant. So the music was great. The story was great. There was some good B-roll and some good angles. In terms of areas for improvement, I think it's a bit too long for what it is, and that story could have been told in a shorter film. The title and the motion the graphics in the motion graphics in that first part of the title, I think it doesn't fit with the rest of the film. It's inconsistent. If you had some of that throughout the film or some of it at the end to tie it all together, I think that would have fit better. Additionally, the actual title of the film, so The Birth of Judson, was so quick I missed it the first time. I actually had to go back and rewatch it to see if it was actually there. So make sure when you're adding any kind of titling, captioning, or motion or text graphics that you actually do ensure that it is there for a long enough time to be read. I think in terms of this one, the client is going to love this, and it is a perfect delivery, and it's beautifully done for the client. I think for awards, we really needed it to go to another level. There needed to be additional storytelling. There needed to be something additional to really elevate it into the next category. So that's where I'm sitting.
Thank you so much, Selena. Andrew, did you have any comments on this one? Hang on, you're muted. Unmuting you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, I think that the things that I have in my notes, and I can't really remember that clearly, so I'm not saying it with a whole lot of conviction, but my notes was a little bit repetitive and long. So, and the other one was, it felt like a little bit too much slow motion and probably with the repetitiveness of the music, that might kind of compound it a little bit. So, yeah.
Thank you. Carmen, did you have anything to add, or has that pretty much covered it for you?
I agree with literally everything everyone has said. I put in my notes, I thought the audio was a little bit off. There was a scene right at the beginning where the birthing person is like hollering. I feel like it was kind of like it didn't match up with the music in the background that well. And then later on in the film, it was just kind of loud. So maybe if the audio and the music were a bit more balanced, I think that definitely could have brought the score up a little bit.
Great. Thank you so much, Carmen. We are going to move to the next video, which is the previous video. Sorry. just for everyone's reference. So we're now on line, I think 35. Yes, line 35.
Hey, tell Nana, you need to get here now. She's at like 9. Yep. All right.
Stained windows, racing for the storm.
And about a +2 station.
How about
Waters of steel, higher than we're just flesh and bones. Teach me forgiveness. No.
You got this. Go dig deep, dig deep, 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 deep. Go hard, 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 hard. Hold your ear in as long as you can. So you. Go, 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 go.
Okay. Judges, could you please enter your scores? Sorry, I'm just getting notices that the recording has stopped. And I'm just going to call out to Lacey and make sure everything's happening. Okay. Great. Wow, we have a score of 38, which is a bronze award. But we also have a judge, Judge 4, sitting in the gold range. So we have an automatic challenge here.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I've been waiting for this one because this is actually, I mean, I'm picking it as the same artist that had the driving scene in the middle of that raised a few questions. So I'm interested to talk about this one again. When I look at these two, they just stood out to me as being like really polished and well done. So I'll just write my notes. I feel like the audio was good. I like the super wide screen. I mean, it's a little bit different. I like the colors. I'm not a color grading expert, but so I couldn't pick it apart, but it didn't look jarring to me. I liked it. So I thought the foundations were there. Why I'm putting it in gold is I feel like it pushes the boundaries a little bit. It's a little bit different, and I'll point out some of the reasons why. I like the edits. I've got driving edits. I'm not sure why I wrote that, but it's probably with the music, like it keeps moving forward. They had the context shot was in the midpoint of the video rather than at the beginning, which is quite standard for. So that's just, mixing it up a little bit, and I think it worked. Adds interest, keeps you on your toes. The lyrics, "Let the light come in," came in that light and airy scene, the newborn. I like that there was different, spaces. There was the birth space and at home. Now this is the controversial bit. I think that, and the thing that I guess piqued my interest looking at these two, assuming it's the same artist, is that there was a quirky little thing in both of them.
Hang on. Sorry, 1 second. We just can't compare videos, but other than that, keep going.
Okay. All right. So there was a quirky bit where there was a flash forward during the birth of the baby, a little kind of where you saw the baby in the crib before shadowing, kind of in that intense moment before birth. And I just felt like that was the innovative, that was the risky, the when we talk about competitions, it's putting yourself out there a little bit. And again, it wasn't, they chose not to kind of do it multiple times, which I was intrigued by. And maybe I'm giving them more credit than they're due, but I feel like they could be ahead of the curve a little bit. So that's why I put it there. But let me just finish my notes. I feel like, I mean, I know I'm not supposed to talk about other videos, but I feel like that technique was almost like a signature for them, which it was quite clever. There was one moment where I felt like the music could have been down a little bit. But that's something that they haven't done across the whole video. There was just one moment. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I just for reference, we are just judging this video as its own video.
Yeah.
And Carmen, it looks like you have something to say.
I didn't, but I'd be happy to.
Oh, sorry. That must
No,
have been
it's
a.
That is okay. I just want to add, I mean, Andrew already said it, but I love the crop in this film. It just made it, I just feel like it elevated the film by, I don't know, it just looked very professional, clean, crisp. I liked the color grading. I can't like speak more to that. It was just visually appealing. I really enjoyed it. But the crop, I don't think we've seen that yet today, like that kind of like movie screen crop. I really enjoyed that. And the way it opened up too, like the way it unfolded the film, it was just really aesthetically pleasing, if I can like use an overused word.
Thank you, Carmen. Does anyone, well, Judge 3, you're sitting on 27. Do you have some feedback, Selena?
Yeah, look, I'd like to explain why I put it in a 27, which is very high professional practice, and I didn't actually go higher. The biggest thing for me that really held me back on this is just the disjunct storytelling. I felt that it didn't flow very well, and I felt that, like I really loved the inclusion of, sort of the welcoming home of baby and the sort of that bringing baby home moment, and well done to the photographer, for the filmmaker, for actually attending that. I just felt that it wasn't bookended though. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more at the beginning that kind of set the scene in that same similar kind of a way, whether that was like a maternity style thing, or whether that was like early labor or pre-labor. I just felt that it missed something at the beginning that I felt it could have had that would have elevated it for me. I also felt that the birth component itself was probably a little bit too short, and the titling was a little bit off. So the title was The Birth of Bo, but it was also the welcoming of baby Bo at home. So I felt in that regard, rather than actually calling something The Birth of Bo or The Birth of whatever name baby, you could actually change your language a little bit to make it welcoming baby Bo, so that it kind of it alludes to the fact that there's more than just a birth story here. Look, I'm happy to come up a little bit. I'm listening, but yeah, I think that like it's technically good, and I agree the process, the color grading in this is beautiful. There's two very distinct stories. I love the opening and the crop. I hadn't actually noticed that, so I will be bringing my score up. But yeah, that's my feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Selena. Judges, you can all, since this was an automatic challenge, you can all re-input your scores. This has scored a 39, which is just on the cusp of silver and but it's a bronze award, so it will go to a review process with another panel. So well done to the entrant. Well done for getting a few extra points for this entrant. And let's move on to our next film. I think we've got about 5 left here. I'll make sure I have the right film for everyone this time. So. Let's make sure it opens. There we go. Okay, and just to confirm for the judges, we are on line 37, and there we go.
You can have my heart. You can have my soul. I'll give it all. Come take control. New mercies rising. Grace never failing. Your all-consuming love.
Okay, judges, can you please enter your scores? This entrant has scored 27, which is professional standard. This entrant has asked for feedback. So can we hear from Rihanna, please?
Yeah, hi. I really liked this. I thought it was a really cute story. I think it was very soft, very sentimental. What brought it down a little bit for me was some of the coloring and the color cast. It was a bit like gray or greenish for me. But I love how the videographer has gotten lots of different perspectives, and that they managed to get, you know, as Mum's pushing the different birth people in the room, support people in the room, their faces and what they were doing. I feel like that really tied that sort of scene and moment together. And some of the audio was a little bit abrupt for me, like, you know, started and finished quite quickly. It wasn't really transitioned out, but I still think it was really nice.
Thanks for that, Rihanna. I saw some nodding heads. Is there another judge that has anything additional to add for this entrant? Selena?
Yeah, just very quickly, I'm going to be a colour Nazi. Sorry, Andrew's the music Nazi. I'm a colour Nazi. I just found it a bit cool, and I felt that there, in particularly in the birth, throughout the birth part, I would have loved to have seen that warmed up a little bit, because yeah, it was just a little cool. But other than that, great feedback from Rihanna.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next video. Yes. Okay. Check and double check. Yes, just for background for everyone on my end, I have to unshare the screen, reshare the screen, open up the right video based on a spreadsheet from a link. So that is why it takes a little bit of time to appear. Okay, judges, can you please enter your scores? We have a score of 24, which is a really solid professional standard. Well done to the entrant, and I'd love to get some feedback for this entrant. Andrew, do you have any feedback?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of notes on for this one. I'll just point out a couple. I mean, I haven't commented on this on too many before, but I'll make it here. And this is just a nitpicky thing. So I come from a graphic design background. I haven't shared too much about my background, but and then got into motion graphics and then video, documentary video. So just with because I know we're dealing with people that come from photography backgrounds primarily, and into video we're introducing a number of different skills, but titling is something that stands out to me, like, and it's just a simple thing, so I'm not wanting to major on it, but just with titles and everything, the rule that I would stick to is just less is more. Simple, like number of fonts and sizes, just try and it's only a small amount of information, so I think there was 3 different sizes, 2 different fonts. Yeah, that's just a simple way of really making it professional is that. And then the notes I have here is a repetitive was the note that I have here, and I was looking for more variety in shot types and angles.
Awesome, thank you for that. That's definitely a way to up-level a film. Does Carmen, what would you like to say?
The repetitive part, but I also have to say, because I feel like we've all been in this situation, like when you're crammed into a really tight bathroom, like you can really only do so much creatively. So I didn't want to like criticize that part too harshly. Of course, I think the film would have been even more enjoyable if they didn't have to be crammed into the bathroom. But since they were for half of the film, it did kind of it didn't leave a whole bunch of room for artistic expression there. But what I do have to say is I would have really loved for when they came out of the bathroom. I think I would have like went absolutely crazy with different angles, different focal lengths, different perspectives, but they were all really tight shots when they finally came out the bathroom, like the postpartum period. So I would have loved for them, even though they were limited for half of the film, I would have really loved for them to like kind of go crazy on the second half of the film. And then, of course, I think I have like a love-hate relationship with country music and birth films, but that is probably totally a personal opinion. So I said that loud, but my score did not reflect that part. My score didn't reflect that part. It's just strictly the creativity.
Thank you, Carmen. That was some great feedback. Does anyone have any points to add on top of what has already been said, Selena?
Sorry, just one quick point on that, Carmen. A different choice of lens might have actually been helpful in a really tight birth situation. So if you're looking at a 35 mil or a 25 mil, might actually have helped that. Yes, you get some distortion around the edges in a case like that, but it would actually have helped that case, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much the only addition. Otherwise, I reflect everything everyone else has said.
And keeping in mind also that when you stick a different lens angle, you do tend to get a bit of a crop on the video setting on your, if you're filming DSLR or mirrorless, you get a bit more of a crop than you would with a 24 mil on your photo setting. So a 24 mil does tend to look, it doesn't look too bad when you stick it on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Sorry, yep. Okay, judges, can you please enter your scores? Judge 3, we're just waiting for your score. Perfect. We have a 29, which is on the cusp of bronze, but it is sitting in that professional standard. Well done to the entrant. We do have the opportunity for a challenge here because we have a judge sitting in over 10 points ahead of the average. Are you wanting to challenge that judge too?
Sure, why not? I guess I don't know how to really convince anybody to come up. Of course, a lot of this can be subjective. So, but I will just like give my notes on the film. I really loved this film. I loved the use of the black and white here. You know, I would point out that some of the shots were a little bit blown out, like the highlights were a little bit high. It looks like the there was like light coming from behind the birthing person, and it did kind of blow out some of the shots. But I love the black and white. I love the use of slow motion and real motion or real time. There was even some scenes that I thought were really creatively done. So the moment of birth was done in real time, and then the scene immediately following the moment of birth, there's a scene where the birthing person looks up at their partner, and in slow motion. And I just feel like there were certain scenes like that that really added to the storytelling part. And then, of course, like I said, it was just visually appealing. I feel like the black and white and mixed with the music, I just feel like it made for like good storytelling.
Thanks, Carmen. Judge 1, you are actually sitting at a 17. Can you give us your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I don't know if it was anyone else, but the first maybe 10-20 seconds for me was very glitchy. I watched it on 2 different devices and it was the same thing. Yeah, and I saw the same blown out highlights. The slow-mo, I feel like, yeah, was good. There was some great use of it, but I felt like some of those moments would have been better in real time to get like a better understanding of what was happening. I feel like not a lot, but some of those stories were missed because the audio was taken or it was slow-mo, and I don't really feel like that added to the story. I do like their composition and like the perspectives they have gotten. And I do like that they've done it in black and white. I just think, yeah, those highlights and the glitchiness for me was what brought it down.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Ariana. Does anyone else have anything to add before I give Carmen her right of reply? Yes, Selena.
Yeah, I'll speak. I was in right smack bang in the middle of bronze, and for all of the reasons exactly that have been shared, for me, I really enjoyed the black and white processing. I thought that was quite different compared to, I know we're not comparing videos, but it's not something we've seen a lot of today. So I thought that was a really lovely addition. I enjoyed the mix with the slow-mo and the normal and the standard. The moment of birth was blurry for me, which is why I didn't go into silver as part of the reason for that. I felt that was a really crucial moment that was missed. And yes, I understand that the birth is incredibly quick at times, and you just don't have time to get your shit sorted. Sorry, can I say shit on? Anyway, I just did. So sometimes you can avoid that, but the fact that it was included obviously was because it was important to include that. But that's something that like I would love to have seen sharper and not blurry. Technically it was good, the story was good, the music I felt really suited the ethnicity of the couple that were in the image in the film. So look, I'm happy to come up a few points. I'm just not sure where I'll go just yet.
Thank you so much, Selena. Carmen, would you like to use your right of reply?
I don't necessarily have much to add. I didn't notice the moment of birth being blurry, so I might bump my score down just a little bit for that, because I feel like that really matters.
Yeah, I think because
especially when it could be just like such a quick fix. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just because you're the challenging judges, not everyone rescores. You hold your score. So
okay.
You hold your score and everyone else decides.
Is it not an auto challenge though? Because it's 29 to 40?
No. Isn't that just an optional challenge? I think gold, it's auto challenge.
Gold, sorry, my apologies. Yep, you're right. Ignore me.
No, that's okay. Sorry, Carmen, I cut you off. Keep going.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I basically was just saying I don't have anything to add. I missed the blurry part, which I think is really easy to do when something is processed in black and white. So that's all for me.
Okay. Well, so Carmen, you hold your score, and the rest of the judges can have the opportunity to rescore. Okay. Well done to the entrant. You have scored a bronze, 30.25, which is a 30. So a bronze award. Congratulations to the entrant, and well done, Carmen, for convincing the other judges to give a few extra points. We'll move on to our next video.
Oh, when you walk in, Aria, Liliana, you kept me strong throughout my toughest times. You were there for Mama. I would just hold on to you, and you would give me strength. You're the one that I've been waiting for. We shared sacred moments, and I'm forever grateful to have you. Take my breath away. With every single step you take, my heart has always been an open door. 'Cause you're the one.
It always kills me to cut something off in the middle of a thought, but here we are. Judges, can you please input your scores? Well done to the entrant. This is film scores a 37, and we have a panel who fully agrees. This is, this is I think, one of the first times today. So this entrant has asked for feedback. And so I'd love to just get some feedback from whoever would like to offer it. Yeah, Andrew, there you go.
Make sure I've got the right number. Again, I'm not an expert on color grading, but I liked it. So, and I've got notes here. I like the cutaways. It was in this intro here. I really like the birds. Like, I love that atmospheric kind of, that breathing room. I'm a fan of that. I love that. I love that there was different locations, different threads. I love the color in that dress. Again, that was lovely. The one constructive thing, and this might be nitpicking, is the transition from the maternity to the, I'm assuming it's birth, but I can't remember exactly. It went from a woman walking to a child's face. And I just feel like transitions are really key moments, and that was just a little bit like I couldn't see the logic behind it, but that's okay. That's nitpicking. And you know, I love that the narration aspect. I kind of wanted to, I was waiting for it to come back, and I almost thought that wasn't, and then it did, and so I was relieved to see that. Maybe weaving it in a bit sooner could have helped. And then I think I've got this right. There was dad at the end, but I don't think there was dad at the beginning. I'm not sure, but maybe just sort of balancing that out a little bit more, maybe having him in the middle or something, so it's not so lopsided in that sense, or such a surprise to have him at the end. But that was mine. But yeah, it's my thoughts.
Those are some great thoughts. And when we do get up into this award range, it can make the difference between bronze and silver or silver and gold in order to in implementing these changes. So some great feedback there from Andrew. Does anyone else have anything to add? Oh, sorry. Yes, Selena.
I'll add something if Carmen and Rihanna don't. Agree with all of that from Andrew. Agree. I would have loved to have heard the father earlier on in the piece as well. I really do enjoy the narration and the love letters written to the baby or about the baby, and narration from the mother here. I think in terms of everything, like the composition, music, technicalities, the story, it's all pretty spot on. And it's a beautiful piece, and I know that the client will absolutely adore this. I do enjoy the maternity section and the connections of the slow motion. I actually have a point here to say that says to go. What does it need to go higher? And my comment is I don't fucking know. Excuse my French, but I think it is a really beautiful take of a maternity and a birth. I think it is just that little bit above professional standard. To go higher, I feel like it needs something more in terms of in terms of cinematics, in terms of filmmaking, in terms of in terms of story, but it is a beautiful film, and yeah, congratulations to the photographer on your Bronze Award.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that feedback. And yes, it's true, when we're watching through these things, it is sometimes very hard to put a score on art. So we are going to watch our final film in this section now. And we're going to end on probably a bit of a hard note, because this entrant has not asked for feedback. So we're all going to be biting our tongues here, I think.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, judges, could you please input your scores? And this entrant has scored a 29. So professional practice, and this film will go to a review to see whether it gets bumped into that bronze range. And there is no feedback requested. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your patience. And a huge thank you to the judges for giving their time and actually watching all of these films in full, possibly multiple times ahead of time, in order to give you their feedback and their thoughts and their scores. So a huge thank you to the judges and thank you to the entrants. I might, if Lacey's around, I might hand it back to her because I think we're going to take a quick break.
Hello. Thanks, Dania, and thank you, judges. You guys have done amazing. And once we got the rooms figured out, I think that went pretty well. So thank you so much for your time. Entrants, thank you so much for entering. We are actually going to take a bit of a break. So it's 1:15 now. We're going to come back at 3:30. So that's about an hour and 15 minutes. Is that right? Am I mathing? And we will also put so you can go to the same link that you've been going to for the whole time of judging on the website, and we'll embed a new room on top of this one. And again, we will stream that out to YouTube as well. I'm hesitant to stream to Facebook, just, sensory. But YouTube is cool. So we'll put that up. And the great thing is we only have one room after this, so we won't have any issues with that. I recognize that there was some difficulty with the stream of room 2. Unfortunately, I set up the live stream, but I didn't click go live until like 30 minutes later. So I have a full recording of this room. Don't you worry. I am a backup whore. So we have a recording of it. And I will download that for you guys during the break, and I will put that up on YouTube for you guys to go and review. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. And Aussies, I'll see you back at 3:30. Thanks. Also, congratulations to all the entrants.
Lacey, have you taken control now?
Yeah, I'm just going to stop this really quick. I'll stop this recording.